Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Jeb's World. Today's episode is with two of my best friends who I've known since we first met together studying abroad in China. They are hooligans, businessmen, and all-around great guys who I really enjoy talking to. Today's episode is with Zander Yokum and Gabe González. Hell yeah. All right. Well, let's go, boys. A little Lou for the first pod. I'm so glad you guys are here.
Yes.
Salud.
Let's see who got the cold one.
Must be drank cold. Mine's great.
Yeah, it's good. Mine's pretty cool.
We're going to have to tear out the new one here after we get rolling then.
Yeah, you're going to be officially the first people to ever see it or try it.
Is it finalized?
It's ready to go, man. We're launching in 2 days.
2 days?
Yes.
Oh, snap.
Like in the markets.
In Miami?
In Miami and across Florida at all Total Wines.
No way.
Yeah.
Dang.
It's going to be like a focus product. When you walk into a Total Wine, it's the first product you see there. It's called a new item display.
Yeah.
So you're going to walk in and be like, what's up with these green boxes?
And this is passion fruit.
It's going to be passion fruit, a.k.a. maracuya, and lemon. So we're going to have both on our variety pack.
Nice. How many stores do you have?
Well, accounts, we have around 250. And specific stores for Total Wine, we have 35.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how'd you convince them to take your product?
Well.
You see here, Sonny.
You know, that was actually our first retailer. I don't know if this,
wow.
I don't know if this stuff we want to talk about. We have better topics, but
No, that's interesting.
Feels like a good place to start.
Yeah, the way it happened was, dude, we were just hitting the pavement, trying to open accounts. We're going to John at the gas station for them to try to sell our shit. And then at some point we're like, okay, we need real retailers. It's a very complicated process. Publix is not going to take it. And my co-founder, Ricardo, finds like a minority-owned business application for Total Wine, like a program. So I write up the application, he submitted, and then a couple days after, someone from Total Wine reaches out and says, hey, would like to try the product and hear more about you guys. And what we did was we send them, instead of just sending them product, we send them our PR package. So go back a couple months. So this is around summer of 2022. So last year, a couple months before, when we said, hey, we need something for like famous people, influencers, or partners that we want to engage with, and we have to be like very real. What would we do? And then we came up with a PR package, a box where you had 2 cans of Casalú, and then there was a CD and a Discman, like a CD player.
Throwback.
And I went to a studio and recorded like an intro of here's the story of Casalú, and selected 23 tracks that I saw as like my childhood reggaeton, like, what put Latino culture at the top, all the way to like what I see as the future. And that's like our package that we started giving to like, rappers and reggaeton artists and everything. So when Total Wine comes through, we just send that shit. We're like, if we're going to use it with anyone, let's use it with them. And then, like radio silence for like 2-3 weeks. And then they say, okay, we want to do a call. We do a call. And one of the owners of Total Wine shows up to the call wearing this man.
Oh,
and amazing. He's like, I wore this to like a board meeting. This is the coolest thing any brand has ever sent me. And we thought we were going to have to pitch him. He's already like, you're going to get 3 stores, 3 cases each, and we'll start there. And then we kind of will go from there. Like, his brother is a congressman. And like, these are people, I mean, Total Wine is the biggest independent liquor store chain in the country. And I mean, they do billions of dollars in
what did you say how
transactions.
much they sold last year, wasn't it?
it's crazy. It's on the billions of dollars.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And Tom Tron, what a G, man. He's awesome. And dude, till this day, he's pretty much been an advisor, kind of like mentor from a retailer perspective.
Yeah.
In terms of saying, you guys just keep pushing. Just keep pushing. The best liquid is going to win. I can tell you as the owner of this shit that this liquid is top of the game. Just keep pushing.
For sure.
And that's how we got Total Wine.
Well, especially how much those guys see probably on a weekly, if not daily basis to be able to break through that.
Thousands of brands.
It's got to be.
On a
right?
weekly basis. It's terrible for them. Like, it's so much.
Yeah.
It's so much. There's not enough space.
Not at all. And everyone's got an idea for the next thing, the next drink, the next fizzy, whatever.
Everybody has an
Mixer.
idea.
Yeah.
It's become so simple to do it, to make it, which, from my perspective is great. Giving people the access to do it. The tough part in the liquor industry is really distribution. So, okay, let's say you make something that's good. First of all, do you have the margins to have a real business? And then second, who's going to put you in those stores? Because you can't go yourself if you're liquor based. Typically, I mean, rules change, but it's almost impossible. So that's where the true challenge begins.
Oh yeah. Well, no, you hit on like the elimination of barriers to be able to make something is nice, but then there's all the noise of just Joe Schmo made a pallet of this and wants to get it here or there.
And it's tough because what are the success metrics, right? And let's hypothetically say it's sales. In each retailer is different, but I think in the beginning of the journey, a lot of retailers got excited, or they typically get excited about stuff. Like if I come to anybody and say, hey, I have a seltzer, they look at me as if I'm like a freak. They're like, we don't touch that.
Oh, really?
At all. Get away, run away. I don't want to talk to you. If I come in and say, I have an RTD, which is a ready to drink, they'll be like, okay, I'm listening. I'm like, motherfucker, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Like, are you kidding me? And that was what was cool about Total Wine was that Tom, since the beginning, he's like, oh, well, the people are like differentiating these two things. It's like, they're just full of shit. Like,
yeah, for sure.
And
well, the seltzer thing's funny because like now you go into any grocery store and you've got like Sonic and Bojangles and like every the energy drink brands, Bang, like all of them are doing seltzers now.
Yeah.
I feel like there's more than any light beer or craft beer section. It's like the seltzer wave.
I think what's tricky is for buyers, and there are obviously a lot of smart buyers in the industry, but how do you cut through the clutter, right?
Oh, 100%.
Like how do you pick, let's say it's beer. And I mean, beer's not dead. It's just how are people drinking beer? When? How? It's just changed with seltzers. It's like, bro, like it's the same thing. RTD, seltzer. Does it have bubbles? Does it not have bubbles? Is it made out of liquor? Is it not made out of liquor? I don't care. What are people drinking, right? Like High Noon is a seltzer, but they market themselves as an RTD just because the retailers don't want to hear seltzer. And they don't care. They're like, okay, fine. But that is a challenge they have. And because distribution is so tricky in the United States, and you can't self-distribute with liquor-based mixed products, typically, well, actually at all, they simply gotta rely on who's bringing it through the door. Like, who is my distributor of trust? And then the distributors are not incentivized to carry new brands because it's easier to put another Jack Daniels in the truck if you're a liquor distributor.
Yeah.
So what you're seeing then is, okay, you're seeing Pepsi and Coke get into the game because they're the ones who know how to have relationships
They have
with
a seltzer?
retail. They have distribution arms.
Yeah.
And
For alcoholic
beverages. It's the first time in history.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because they are the ones who know how to drop product in
For sure.
like
Yeah.
grocery stores.
Yeah.
Which is where the majority of the volume is moved. I mean, in North Carolina is different because you have the ABC, but in other
what
states
changed?
different.
Because when y'all were first doing it, we could order it, right?
Yeah, the states started cracking down on like out of state shipments.
Yeah. And all the 19-year-old kids that were just ordering alcohol to their door.
That's also popping up, but
The
that was
UPS
after the
guy's
fact.
like, I don't check
Yeah.
IDs. Like, I'm not a,
Yeah,
I'm not a
like,
bouncer at
I'm not a
bar.
bouncer.
Yeah.
We're shipping to almost every state. North Carolina is still kind of tricky, but scoop here is that we're probably going to start selling at the ABC next week.
Oh,
So
Ooh.
wow.
But not with both or with the...
both.
Wow.
Variety pack. Yeah.
Dang.
Send an email today saying like, hey, you can put the order for a pallet
Yeah.
of product.
Oh, that's big.
Yeah. So I'm going to have to make you run to the store and be like, hey, where's my Casalú?
Yeah, exactly. We'll clear them out.
Yeah.
Get the studio stocked up.
Exactly.
Heck yeah. Dang, man.
Are those are the laws on liquor? Are they kind of stagnant? Do you feel like they're coming down, or like is it easier and easier, or is it kind of stagnant?
No, I wouldn't say necessarily it's easier and easier. Pretty stagnant. Most of the rules stem from prohibition times. So what you have in the United States is what's called a 3-tier system. And the 3-tier system states that you can't be the producer of the beverage, the distributor of the beverage, and the retailer of the beverage. In theory, you can be 2 out of the 3. Not quite. Making your own beverage and distributing it you would have to have a distillery. It doesn't really work because, how many brands are going to raise millions of dollars or have millions of dollars to build a facility and a distillery to then also have trucks. It just doesn't work. So what you really find is that the makers are separate to the distributors are separate to the retailers. And that is what you have in the United States. And what you would think that would create competition, but it's really what it's done is create monopolies.
Yeah.
Because people control their one piece of the equation there.
The equation. So you'd have retailers right now, for example, Total Wine is under a lawsuit. And I'm going to use the facts wrong, but with the state, fundamentally, they're going to Supreme Court for saying, hey, they give preferential treatment to Southern Glazers, which is the biggest distributor in the country. There's only one liquor distributor in the country that distributes to the whole country. Everybody else distributes to parts of the country.
Yeah, they're all regional with their...
They're pretty regional.
Yeah.
But they're the big 4. So they'll split the country in 2, or they'll do Canada and the US. It's sort of tricky. But yeah, to answer your question, they're pretty stagnant. Very, very stagnant. In North Carolina, you have something that's called the mixed alcohol tax. So, Jacob might go to a store and buy a case of Casalú for, let's say, $40. But then if a bar says, I want the same, they're going to get taxed almost at 2 times the
Are you serious?
cost.
Well, dude, a high noon is like $15 if
That's
you go
why.
downtown. It's like...
That's why.
They have a higher tax at a bar than at a Total Wine.
Yes. Correct. That an ABC.
Yeah.
In Florida, that's not the case. Everybody's the same.
Oh, that's state. The biggest thing I've seen change in alcohol rules is like where you can drink publicly in North Carolina.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
But you can drink in certain parts downtown in Raleigh now. You can go out and walk around.
wow.
With a
Yeah.
drink. Yeah.
It's a sip and stroll.
Yeah.
law.
There's a social district.
Yeah, we saw
now.
that in Greensboro maybe for a little bit when we were.
Oh yeah,
the
exactly.
wedding.
Yeah, same
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, from here to here, it's okay, but from here to here,
At New York, I don't know exactly what the laws are, but people just drink kind of everywhere.
Of course. That's how it is. You remember how it was in China? You just drink everywhere.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't even know if. I don't even know what the laws are on that.
as an
no
American, we probably
Yeah,
I don't know if they apply to us out there.
Just doing the extreme stuff.
Yeah, that's right. How are things in the Big Apple?
Good. I will say, the time change, not a fan
Oh yeah,
because it gets dark.
that's
quick.
right. Yeah.
So, do you know what's the deal with that time change? What's this backstory? Do you have any idea?
No, but
I was hoping if anyone knew, it would
no.
be you.
But I know New Mexico doesn't listen, right?
And I think Arizona, right?
At least New Mexico, maybe Arizona.
Don't we have Benjamin Franklin to thank for this at some point?
I
Am I tripping
actually
on this?
don't know if that's the case, though.
It's really annoying though because my
Yo, fact check.
John, I think we need to pull up the
Yeah.
history of the.
I thought it was like a president who did it, but maybe I'm wrong.
It's really annoying because my sister's in Vietnam, and then my wife's family's in China, and my grandparents are in Switzerland. And I'm always trying to figure out what time it is, and it's just total chaos.
Bro, it sucks. This is just because it gets dark. Like,
Yeah.
it's 7 p.m. and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired. Why?
It's time to go to bed.
Oh, I'm going back to Miami.
Yeah, Miami. I guess
It's better. It's definitely better.
All right, here we go. So
1918.
daylight saving time was first implemented in the U.S. with the Standard Time Act of 1918, a wartime measure for 7 months during World War I in the interest of adding more daylight hours to conserve energy resources. Year-round daylight savings time, or wartime, was implemented again during World War II. Yeah, but who had that idea?
Well, who kept it?
Yeah, I guess they were expecting a World War III.
The war's over, but we're still on the same wavelength. Here.
1918. That's Woodrow Wilson, right?
Oh, I used to know this. I don't know anymore.
Keep going down here. Let's see if we can find some more information. Oh, here we go. Go back. Why did?
Oh, that was your Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah. Okay, so we got that right.
No. Daylight saving is one thing that Franklin didn't know. Bro, you're spreading.
National Treasure lied to me. National Treasure Nicolas Cage. I have nothing to. I can't thank them for this. He merely suggested change their sleep schedules to save money on candles and lamp oil. All right, Ben, you're no help here. All right, there we go. Next one. Who invented daylight savings time and why? George Hudson proposed the idea of changing clocks by 2 hours every spring. Presented the idea as a way to save energy. Oh, so I guess you're going to sleep when it's dark outside, so you don't have to like burn oil or like use power. Huh.
Pretty outdated though. I mean, I don't wake up when the sun comes up. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. How do we revert?
Unless the bank's failing.
How do we revert this? Like, how hasn't someone been like, "Yo, this is stupid. Can we please stop? Like, we're done, right? Like, we'll bring it back again in World War III. But
candles to power ourselves anymore.
The hell?
Yeah. Maybe see if you can find an actual a source here.
If at all, isn't it worse? Like, people, I guess AC is the one thing you could say with, but.
Wait, why is it so much worse than is New York significantly different after?
It's worse because when you're off work, it's already dark.
Oh yeah, of course.
And I was trying to beat my high school mile. I have a thing where I want like every year or two to beat a personal record.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And whatever it is. Right. So one year, it doesn't have to be physical. Right. 1 year I did 314 digits of pi. Right. 1 year I did 2,000 push-ups. Right. That was my big one. And then more recently in New York, I did the all the boroughs in a day, which was 100,000 steps.
Oh, damn. Yeah, your walking challenge.
Yeah. Did you die?
No, but it was really bad because it actually rained that day. I kid you not, I had an umbrella for like 12 hours.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It was pretty miserable.
Wait, so how many
I can't
hours?
Even say it was fun. It was just miserable.
I'm sure it wasn't fun.
Can you decommit? Like, oh no, I'll try tomorrow.
I could have, but I was going on vacation in 2 weeks, and I wanted to not be broken by the time I was there. So I sort of was locked in.
Were you down bad after?
I was down bad. My foot was soaked, and I was sort of like walking through the pain. It was pretty bad. I could have hurt myself. I mean, to be fair, when I did the push-up thing, when I did push-ups, I learned about the American medical system.
Yeah.
So I did push-ups. I hurt my stomach. Went to the emergency room. $13,000. Now, I had insurance, but
the bill
was $13,000. It's like if you don't have insurance,
how much did you pay? Out of the 13?
It was free. It was still a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Free.
No, 3,000. Definitely not free. 3,000.
So you paid 1,300?
No. I paid 3,000, but it was 13,000 total.
Oh wow, I was missing a zero.
Yeah, it was a lot. And the worst part is they don't tell you the price until afterwards. There's nobody that's like, by the way, this is gonna be really expensive.
Right.
Oh yeah, they're not like, hey, before you get into this, let's just talk about
even though they know.
Wow.
Coming in, they know.
They should know.
Like,
they could give you at least an estimate. They'd be like, yo, this is going to be like 10 to 15K.
Yeah,
exactly. Would you like to move forward with the process?
I was in Thailand, okay? My leg had a black mark on it. I had been swimming and something bit me. I don't know what it was. But
you were in Sri Lanka?
Yeah. I was in Sri Lanka. I got bit by something, started getting sick, went back to Thailand. and I was meeting my girlfriend's parents at the time. I'm walking around this like old temple, and I literally collapse. I cannot walk any further. And I'm with like her parents I just met. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing. But we go to the hospital, and they work on me. I don't know what they did. I'm like, oh God, I'm in Thailand. This is gonna be terrible. Like, I'm gonna lose my leg. Like, dude, 2 hours. They worked on it, fixed it. It was like $20. I was like, what? I was like, is this a joke? I mean, it was insanely cheap. I was so confused. It was absurd. But I was just like, wow, $20 for a
compared to
$13,000.
Dude, do you remember when we went to the hospital in was it when we walked into the hospital?
We go to a lot of hospitals.
What's up with the hospital? Dude, was it us that walked into the hospital in China?
For the extra credit.
Yeah, for the extra credit. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty
it was kind of a dismal scene.
That was a dismal dismal scene. And you've had your own issues. I mean, I fell off a motorbike and should have gone to the hospital in Cambodia, but you destroyed it was it Thailand or Indonesia?
Yeah, but I didn't hurt myself.
You didn't hurt yourself, just the bike.
Greatly damaged.
Where was that? In Bali?
Yeah. You know the motorbike story?
I think you told me about it. But we can relive it.
It's a good one. I want to hear it.
On the record.
It's a good one.
Post graduation, me and Tanner are like, hey, big trip overseas. Let's go to Bali first, Singapore next, Thailand, and then I linked up with Zander's in Barcelona. But day one, I'm there by myself. So I was like, I saw everyone riding around on mopeds, and the hostel I was staying at rented mopeds. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to get a moped today. Tanner's coming in tomorrow morning, and then, I'll know where to go. We can link up. So I get on this moped, and I'm going sort of up this hill, and this hill goes into an elevated, or the road goes to an elevated area between these two hills. And then there's like this rock outcropping that I want to get up to. So I drive by, I come back down the hill, and I'm trying to basically do a U-ey on the road to go back. So I went up, came down. I'm trying to go back now because I'm actually going to go up there. Because there wasn't a trail, but I was like, you know what? I'm here. It's an adventure. Let's do it. And I hadn't ever really ridden a moped before. So like I'm still trying to figure out the turning radius of everything. So I'm doing the U-ey, but I'm taking it really wide, like way too wide to, make it happen in the width of the road that I had. So I basically end up on the side of the road with the scooter running perpendicular to the road. So it's pointed basically straight out to the side, looking over the elevated side. So the scooter's in the grass. So there's like 20-foot, 30-foot drop.
20? Oh, shit.
It was pretty steep. And it's just like a trash, overseas. So it kind of just like landfills places.
Right.
So I'm looking out over there, and then behind me is the road. And I think I'm trying to turn it, but before I turn it, I just gas the throttle. And the bike just shoots out from under me and falls 20, 30 feet down into this pile of garbage. And and when that first happens, like you don't know, like I'm just looking around. I'm like, oh, I don't really know what just happened, but that couldn't have just happened. So I'm like looking down there, and then this dude just stops on the side of the road, and he walks over. And he looks down with me, and he was some local guy, and he looks at me, and I'm like, what are we gonna do here, bro? Because like I don't know if I'm gonna go down there, but like maybe someone. And at this point in my mind, I was like, I'm just gonna buy this dude a new moped. Like I'm not doing this. But then before I know it, I'm surrounded by like 10 or 15 locals, and they're like, all right, they're like talking to each other, getting hype. So then we all walk down there, and we are like knee to waist deep in garbage bags, walking over to this scooter that is in the middle of it. And it took like 5 or 6 of us to get the scooter up out of the garbage and like push it up the steep side of this crevasse to get it back onto the road. So and I'm in the back, I'm just heaving with all my might because I was like, I gotta get this scooter out of here. So we get it up, and then this other guy jumps on it. He just like starts driving it up the street. I was like, what is he doing? Like, I need the moped back. But I think he was like checking it out for me. So he comes back, he drops off, he looks at me, he's like, you're good to go. And I'm like, oh boy, I just got off. I can't believe it. So I get on it, but the handlebars is like, instead of being up, like arms extended, it's like down in my lap. So you're driving it like a little like racer scooter. So I get on this thing, and I'm driving it, and I'm like, all right, what is my game plan now? Because I was staying at the hostel I rented it from that night, But I was like, I don't really know if I want to deal with this today. Like, I think I'm going to try to dodge it. So I think I stayed out all day. I went around and just like went to some beaches. I got dinner and then I went back at like, whatever it was at night, dropped it off. And the next morning I wake up and I walk out and the guy who owns all heroes, my scooter. And I'm like, oh, bro, well, I'm sorry. I'll help you with your scooter. So Tanner comes in, we have the whole day, but the next day, the guy's like, okay, at like 6 a.m, me and you were going to go fix the scooter. And I'm like, all right, I'll go with you. I'll pay the guy whatever we need to pay. We'll do it. So the next morning I wake up at like 6 or 7 a.m, we're just walking the scooter because he doesn't want to drive it. And we're on like this road of garage doors. And I guess it's just like small businesses. Like one will be a clothing shop. Then you get like a shoe shop. And then this one guy just meets us at this garage door and opens it up, and it's like a mechanic shop. They start taking apart the scooter. They're like looking at it, trying to figure out what's wrong with it. And it turns out those mopeds have like a beam that literally shapes the scooter. And it's like kind of like a lopsided L, if you will, And they get down there and that L has just turned into a V. It went from like a weird L to like a tight V. And he was like, we're going to have to take this somewhere. And I was like, look, bro, I'm leaving in like 24 hours. Like, I got to get out of here. I think I paid, and honestly, talking about just like prices of stuff, I think I paid the dude $100 US and got out of there. And he was like, that'll be more than enough to fix this.
Bro, what a dedication.
And that
because I feel like Sanders would have done that. I would have led that shit. I no blink. I was just like, all right, I'm walking back.
When it came off, was your initial thought like, oh shit, I fucked up, or was it, thank God I wasn't on it?
Oh shit, I fucked up.
You weren't thinking like, because I mean, if you were on it,
yeah,
you would have hurt yourself pretty bad.
I would have, but honestly, it's disgusting to think about. But there was so much garbage down there, you could have just swan dove into it, and I think you would have been perfectly fine.
Probably would have worked like a trampoline.
When we got out, I looked down and I guess I was like, because my adrenaline was going, because I was freaking out. I mean, I was by myself. I was, what are you, 21? Yeah. And I'm like, so once my adrenaline wears off, I look down and I've got red ants all over my legs, and I'm just getting bit driving this broken scooter. And I'm like, I gotta get in the water. So I pull up at the Ritz Carlton or something. I run out back into the water. And I'm just standing in their beach, like trying to get the ants off my legs. I was like, all right, I'm gonna leave now. But I remember driving down this hill, just getting bit. Like, okay, I gotta get to the ocean. That
being said, motorcycles are awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I still want to get certified.
It's quite. Now I could be wrong, but I want to say that you actually crashed another one,
bro. So then it's just,
how is that even possible?
It's a theme.
So me and Tanner, we get 2 scooters.
Is this Indonesia now?
No, we're in the same place. I think literally the next day we're in the same place, and we're driving down the hill that I just crashed from. So the hill, you like come down and then you go around this little snake bend, and Tanner's behind me and I'm in front of him. And then, but there's like just cars and stuff behind us. And as we're going around this snake bend, I look back to him like, hey, Tanner, let me show you where I crashed my scooter. And as I said, scooter,
no way. There's no way.
It is like you could not have written it. The scooter slides out from under me, goes sideways into, what are those things called across the rail? What is those things called? Whatever it is. In the guardrail, slides into the guardrail. Tanner's slamming on his brakes, literally almost runs over me in his moped because I'm sprawled out on the gravel. And then there's like a mini truck behind him slamming on his horn. I'm like, what is going on?
Jeez, at least you learned your lesson.
Was it owned by the same moped owner?
This was a different moped rental. This is a different.
It was like his cousin.
They're like, this Jacob kid, you got to get him out of here.
Get him out of the country.
Needs to leave. Yeah.
No mopeds for you.
Like we went to Singapore after that. We got out of there. All the moped accidents. I think after that, me and Tanner were riding a double instead of me.
You hired a driver after that.
Just rented a car. Yeah. Normal.
No, I don't have good luck on those things.
Wow. Yeah, I crashed one too in Cambodia. So, somebody like pushed me off the road, but I was in Cambodia, so I was pretty scared. I was like, I really don't want to go to hospital here. It was pretty bad. I still did the rest of the trip.
Wait, how'd they push you off the road?
I was just driving on the side of the road, and a car just sort of started merging into me. And I didn't really know what to do, so I just kind of went farther left into gravel, and I just, it was pretty bad.
Is it not wild how different driving is?
I know.
In other countries than like the United States?
Especially in North Carolina. Because even in New York, like I think if I drove there, I would sort of probably have done better. But in Raleigh at least, it's like, oh no, you go, no, you go.
It's great.
It's that southern hospitality.
Yeah, great. Miami, is it
terrible, bro? Terrible. Because it's like literally like Latin America. It's become Latin America.
Okay,
the cops are like Latin American. Like,
so
literally,
it's you can kind of do whatever you want.
I mean, it hasn't. It's even. I would actually say it's even worse than in Venezuela. Like, it hasn't been tenth of a second since the light goes from red to green. Honking on my dude. Everybody, it's like, oh,
you gotta go,
dude. All day long, I'm like just startled. Like, please stop. I don't want to drive anymore. I give up. Yeah, it's terrible. So, but you have good public transportation in New York, right?
Yeah, if you've never seen any other public transportation, but yes,
true.
I mean, compared to the rest of the U.S., New York is a 10, and then compared to the rest,
I would say Chicago is.
Oh, maybe
an 11.
Oh, Chicago's better.
Yeah.
People use it.
Yes,
because that's what people actually use it.
I think it's just a good balance between the train or the subway and buses. I think that's pretty cool from Chicago.
Yeah, that was one of my questions. If you arrive late at night, like how much would you pay for an Uber versus the subway?
Did you answer that? Can you pose the question?
Yeah. I think you answered it. So you arrive. So New York, you arrive like at 9:00 on a Saturday.
Yeah.
So it's not a work day. It's really just sort of convenience. So you're at the airport. Your friend is an 80-minute by subway or 40-minute by Uber. How much would you pay for the Uber?
But you put a couple options there.
Yes, but I think it's better if it's just like $1. I only did that because it's So personally, I would spend I think $40.
Yeah.
So if it was $50, I would take the subway. If it was $40, I would Uber.
Yeah.
But what would you do?
I think
it could be higher.
I know my answer was the highest option you had,
90 plus.
But I would be like definitely 60 plus.
Yeah.
I honestly would pay whatever except for like if it's $150, I think that would be my cutoff.
Oh wow. Okay. I mean, that's always the question with like traveling is like, where do you spend the money? Do you spend it on the hotel? Do you spend it on the like private guide or you like the group guide on the plane ticket? Like for me, the plane, not worth it. The hotel, not worth it. I would be a guide or food for like an expensive.
I think the most I've spent recently would be both on food and experiences. So I paid nothing crazy, but compared to US prices, which I think it's a good thing. But a Real Madrid Barcelona game.
In Barcelona.
Sick. That's a good one. Yeah.
And I was like, this is really the best thing I paid like in this trip. Like this was
I like
and
that,
it was a great game too.
That adds to it.
And it was like, bro, this is great. And you get outside of Camp Nou and you're like, this is great. I mean, those guys play on Sundays at 9:30. Like the game starts at that time.
Yeah,
it's very late.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, like tomorrow's Monday, but whatever.
No, that's awesome. No, that's worth it though.
But that was great. And then San Sebastian, I got really good food, and that was worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been big on the plane tickets. Mine would definitely be experiences.
Dude, I feel like the plane tickets are. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, and they should be a priority. To me, they're like at the bottom of the.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, they're better, but are they $1,000 better? Right, that's where it is.
Now, don't get me wrong. When I get like the upgrade on the credit card, I'm like, I'm like, oh, this is kind of nice. But when I'm like going on an international trip, I'm not going to be like splurging to get the extra one.
Dude, $1,000 just to be especially when you're going. Because when I'm going, I'm just like, I'm excited.
Yeah, coming back
Like,
would be
coming back maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even eat airplane food anymore. Like my strategy for my trips now is I literally I get like a pack lunch from the airport. So I get like a hummus and a sandwich and like a bag of chips and a drink. And like that's what I eat on the flight. I don't even eat airplane food anymore. So even if I like, you know, the food is apparently better and like I don't even think I would eat that food. I would just be doing my own little bag lunch. And like when I do that, that's good. And every time, honestly, this has happened multiple times now where the lady comes around with the trays and she's like, do you want chicken or do you want pasta? And I'm like, I brought mine. And she's like, oh, that was a good choice.
Oh, wow.
That was a good choice. I'm like, yeah, because these are like microwave meals you heated up 8 hours ago and then brought. I don't know if I want that. I'm sorry, lady.
Unless you're flying
That's
like
smart.
Emirates or something.
Yeah,
Shit
unless you're like
that.
in the top, which like I'm definitely not going to be doing that. Yeah. Then you're getting something crazy.
You got to do the Casey Neistat where they pay you to film it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
$40,000.
I mean, then I would definitely do it. But not,
Right.
But like even when I do like little trips, I like to do like a little excursion. Like when we went down to Florida to do some stuff, we did like a fan boat ride, or like we did like
What's
jet
that?
skis.
It's a fan boat.
The fan boat ride through the Everglades with the
nice.
guy who, you know, it's literally a huge fan on a boat.
Oh, fan boat ride. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
and they're
nice.
and they're driving you through like drifting and stuff. Those guys
Apparently
are
that,
savage.
that stuff's cool.
Oh, it's so
I've
cool.
heard it's great.
Those guys
I haven't done it, but
I mean,
great.
you have to compare them to like, I mean, this is probably a little drastic, but like, you know, pilots in a way, because they're literally like there's like 6 inches of margin on both sides of the boat. And they're going like 25, 35, 40 miles an hour through the Everglades. And then they're like drifting these boats around these turns. And you're just riding while that dude's back there just jimmying the sticks. It's crazy.
I feel like that's kind of like the point too with traveling. So I'm a big believer that it's like you live through kind of memories or experiences, right? So I can't imagine Jacob being like, dude, you remember that time I got this amazing caviar pasta at Fly Emirates and I was sleeping like straight
That's
down.
true.
Like,
That's
what the
true.
fuck? And like,
Oh, that's right. Yeah. It's like, that's never what we would.
No.
so it's like, what would you pay for that?
No, that's a good point.
I mean, you get for free, great. If you're a millionaire too, you can do it. But if not, it's just, it seems pretty crazy to me.
Yeah, this is one thing I so struggle with traveling is I love it, but I think like half of my favorite experiences are from traveling. So is that cool or is it depressing?
That life at home.
That 50% of my life, 50% of my best experiences are compartmentalized to like a month a year.
I guess you would have to figure out how to invest in something else that you enjoy and do that at home.
Yeah.
Like
It's
a
just
consistent
different.
hobby.
Yeah, like.
But what
like
are
a
my
consistent
hobbies?
hobby.
Like flip horses. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. I've been thinking a lot about like people who have homes or like houses, which maybe we're not there necessarily yet, but they get there and it's like this is like my sanctuary, right? Like you get there and it's just like everything that you need and it's like you enjoy it.
No, yeah.
It'd be a cool balance. Probably undoable in New York, but whatever.
Yeah. No, but you can enjoy it, but I just mean like my top moments are often
Yeah, you're not gonna be like, oh, the best thing that happened this year is when I watched TV at my couch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be fucked up.
Yeah. I have a friend who was in finance. It was a tough job where every month you started in the red. So you had to kind of pay back the product type deal. And so he didn't take off more than like 3 days in a row for like 3 years, because if any month, you know, you took too much time off, you would be in the red the whole month.
Oh, yeah.
And then you would have to pay the company rather than pay you.
Dude, you lost me at red. Can you explain more?
So
As an individual, he started in the hole.
yeah, so like let's say he's down every month 20,000.
So, okay, wait a second. So what we're talking about is a person
Finance
that works in finance that has to invest.
It's like sell a honestly, I didn't really understand it, but something to do with mortgages.
That's what you didn't want to explain to me. I get it.
Yeah, no,
We can cut that.
no, I'm not sure how it worked, but the gist was he's down every month, and then it would take like in the last 5 days he would make all his profit. Right, the first 25 days are getting even, and then the last 5 days, yeah, it's like so stressful, right?
I should do that with my salespeople.
Well,
$15,000
yeah, I mean,
down.
well,
First of the month.
Well, listen to the end of the story.
Light a fire.
Listen to the end of the story before you say that, because so at 5 days,
He jumped from it.
well, he quit. Yeah, is the end. So yeah, but so
It's better than
Yeah,
what I
very
thought.
stressful, and he was like, you know what, I don't want to do this, and he just took 6 months off, and he's in Asia just doing crazy stuff, and I feel like in 6 months he's gonna have a lifetime of stories. So like a Joe, I feel like he's gonna have Joey Diaz stories for the rest of his life.
So it's funny you brought this up because I was literally watching this video the other day. You know Jesse Itzler, the guy who started
Familiar.
The cocoa water, Vita Coco?
Yes.
Sold it to Coco?
Yeah, Vita Coco.
So he talks about how he does his year so that his year is interesting. He says, every month I try to do a mini adventure. So every month I try to do one thing I wouldn't normally do, which is like go camping or like just what one weekend out of the box. And with him, he has a family, so he does it with his kids. And then every year he tries to do a big adventure, which is like climb Mount Kilimanjaro, like something big. And he's like, think about it. Every year, if you have 12 mini adventures and one big adventure, you have a lot of like good substance.
Yeah, I like
and that stuff you can do it within
That's what
a short drive of something.
I think that's
I like that.
I think
That's
that's
good.
brilliant
That's
because
good.
you're also living what people live in a lifetime. Like after 3 years, you're like, dude, I've done all these things.
Yeah, I mean, think
You're
about it.
like,
If you did it
holy
for 3
shit.
years, that's 36 things you haven't done.
Amazing
Yeah.
things. And then what I was going to tell you though, it's because I know you like to travel, then also like things within the States, like even if it's a quick thing,
Yeah.
like getting that. I think there's always more stuff if you look into it.
Yeah.
Everywhere,
Especially in New York.
especially dude, even in New York, like if from going to games to the US Open to and doing something completely contrary, you're like, oh, I went to a milk farms or up north or whatever.
Something totally out of the box.
Yeah,
$100.
I saw Spanish tap dancing a couple weeks back.
Ooh.
I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Bro.
like Irish tap dancing.
The-
It was really cool.
The underground spas in New York, those are
wow.
those are crazy. Like the people just like literally disappear from the city, just go down and be like, "Oh, I'm doing my salt baths and shit." I'm like,
Nice.
that sounds great.
No, I was thinking this is a funny topic to bring up because I was thinking about this last week. I was like, man, in college, I feel like I was doing a lot more recreational activities like scuba diving, like all these other things. And then the last year or two for me have been a lot more just like, oh, do this like business, maybe a travel thing. It seems like it's kind of simplified in a way. It's like you have to be super intentional
You
about
have to be
reintroducing it, or it
intentional.
doesn't happen at all. Yeah, it doesn't happen. No one calls you up and is like, hey, why didn't you do that thing? It's like,
Yeah.
And it does exist. I mean, there are communities for these things.
Yeah.
You do have to seek it out yourself.
Only 3 days in a row. Sounds like you own a business. All right, time for more Casalú or what?
we need to try the new one.
I got it.
Yeah. Oh boy. You haven't even tasted any of the test flavors of this one, have you?
No, but it's funny because, I mean, we were doing this how many years ago? 2 years ago
Yeah.
in his apartment?
That's right. Yeah.
Before it was just a dream?
Oh, and we
A
have
dream
the
and
new,
no. Yeah.
the new packaging too. Oh, this is big. Wow. The debut.
This is officially the debut.
Nice.
Nice. Let's go.
Ooh, nice and cold.
Is everything going to be in this one now? This green can now?
It's a green. I mean, it's supposed to be matte, so the feel is the same if you touch this.
Yeah, it
That's kind
does.
of where we're trying to get to. But
Yeah.
what we were starting to see though was like, a couple things, right? First is we had a lot of like famous people just drinking it like this, and when you see it like this, you think it's a Modelo.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
because
on
it's
the
basically
picture.
the same
Oh,
color.
that's
Yeah.
true.
And we were like, fuck, we just missed this moment with this. Like for us, this is worth a lot. So that's why we put this on the rim.
Yeah.
The pattern of the door.
Oh,
for Casalú.
nice. Yeah.
Nice.
And then the color was simply, I think we always wanted to do it. I actually always wanted to do it this color. And first of all, there's no seltzer that's green, like officially.
Yeah.
Second of all, what we saw was every brand that's truly made it in the long run owns a color. Like if I ask you guys, what color is Bud Light?
Yeah, blue.
Yeah.
What
blue.
color is Budweiser?
Red.
Color is Coke.
Red.
We can go down.
Yeah, you're right. They
Yeah.
have colors very. Yeah.
What color is Heineken? So if we did it with this, like what color is Casalú? It's like I guess green, but not really. And
Yeah, there's
we
no
said
doubt that this is.
we really gotta
Yeah.
own it.
I like that.
And
Ooh.
and
Yeah, because then, like you said, if you can't see anything but the color, you assume it's a Casalú.
Yeah.
and it's just building more on that brand ownership. I would say like owning a color. So it's like, oh, this is Casalú green.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited about this.
All right,
Cheers.
let's see.
All
Me
right.
too.
Cheers.
I'm nervous. It tastes like shit.
Maracuja, maracuja,
Maracuja.
maracuja. Salud.
So,
There we go. Okay.
Salud.
Oh, it smells nice.
oh yeah, I like that. It's refreshing.
Wow.
Yeah, this is.
Dude, that's good.
Yeah, this one's good.
Different to what we tasted.
Yeah, this is.
It got so much better.
Yeah, this one's good.
Yes.
Holy shit.
It's an improvement.
But actually, you said something. I'm always interested in this. You know, you hear maybe you already have an answer, but maybe you have a future answer. But you know, the question is like, and Jacob, you as well. I've made it, right? People have these moments where they're like, oh, that's. I mean, Total Wine sounds pretty impressive, but you have said a couple times, you know, when you make it. So, is there something that you know is a staple for making it?
I think it changes. It's a moving target.
Yeah, that's the.
That is the problem. I mean, I'm doing Casalú and I'm already thinking like, not what's gonna be next, but it's like how to make it bigger, how to make it stronger, how to make it higher, and then also like, oh, what are the side businesses that I'm gonna have? And like, there's always that stuff that I think is natural for a founder. In our case, though, this is gonna sound lame, but when we're profitable,
Oh no, it's not lame. Yeah, of course.
that I don't have to worry about anyone else but my targets. It would be nice. We don't have to do that though. Like, I mean, I don't know when this podcast is gonna come out, but we're working on some partnerships that I think, if they come through, would be pretty unique.
Yeah, for sure.
For people from where I come from. And I think even for people in this industry, for looking at it in a different way. But dude, over the past couple of weeks, we've even been meeting with people that I was like, holy shit! Like if my 12-year-old self had seen that, and it's like I'm only getting started. This would be pretty cool. Like this would be pretty cool. Like earning the respect of like I would tell you like, you know, top 2 out of the top 100 CEOs in the US. Just like being there and they understanding the vision for Casalú, including the number 1 in the industry. It's pretty special.
Yeah, those are big moments.
Yeah, that's
yeah. I guess you gotta enjoy it more. But I think it's one of those where it's like, did we just have that meeting? Like, did I just give a hug to X person? Like, that's crazy. Like, that's crazy. So
yeah, you do got to step back sometimes.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's some of that is crazy. Some of that is pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's age old. I feel like every old wise man has said enjoy the journey, but it's like it's so hard to do in the moment because you're like you're constantly.
But the moving the target, you know, they've done so many studies, right? How much money is enough to be happy? And the answer is very simple: more,
Right.
more. You make 500, it's 700. You make 60, it's 100. You make 30, it's 50.
Yeah, I think it depends on personality too. But right, but when you talk about a coach or an entrepreneur, for example, like I remember reading the book on Bill Walsh, The Score Takes Care of Itself, and the wife complained like, dude, this guy's just never happy. Like
That's the problem.
like you win, you won a tournament, and it's like I want to win 2.
Yeah.
I won 2, I won 5, and it's like it never ends. So there's one thing, and I do think I have, and the 3 of us maybe have a piece of that personality. But then the flip side is there's this other book called The Book of Joy that I think about all the time, which is pretty much like the cure for everything is gratitude, along other lessons. And I think if you wake up every day and you're just like, I'm grateful for this thing that happened, and you actually write it down or enumerate it or like keep mind of it, your days are just so much better. You're just like, I'm good. I'm where I'm at. Like it's all good, you know. I guess it's different for everybody. I can't judge anyone, but I mean, there's this an anecdote about Sammy Sosa, out of all persons, whatever. But they asked him, it's like,
with the sauce.
yeah, I know. Dude, like, are you scared of, you know, or like, are you afraid of, you know, hitting your 500 home run when he was playing with the Cubs? And he's like, dude, I was scared of when I couldn't eat. I don't give a fuck about 500 home run.
Yeah.
Right? So I think having that perspective also helps a lot. Where you're like, when you can remember where you come from and where you were before, then that also I think should give you peace in terms of where you're at. I do think providing for your family and just being okay, no debts, like it just be it's a nice place to be.
Yeah, if you can live it. It's hard though.
Yeah.
It is hard.
Yeah.
Especially in New York. I mean, there's always a bigger, you know.
That's a fast-paced society.
There's everybody. It's
You're chasing something always.
There's a lot of
never
chasers.
ends. I don't know how you manage that. I mean, how is it in your industry? Because I feel like from
my industry's terrible. Yeah, I mean, I went to this bar where we had free drinks, and this guy buys a $250 bottle of champagne. I'm like, oh, we have free drinks. We have free drinks. He's like, I want champagne. I mean, he literally did it just to flex on everybody that he can afford it for that bottle. I mean, yeah, it's a thing.
I know I was talking to someone who was servicing someone at Live, and he's like, he just paid $40,000 on the tab.
Golly.
Yeah, it's.
I was like,
it never ends. That's the issue. You really have to get to like a billion, where it's like, okay, I have too much money, where it doesn't matter how much I ever spend.
Oh,
but like you see that in football players all the time. They'll make $10 million. And they'll run out because, I mean, $40,000 every weekend. I mean, it does add up.
Oh, for sure.
That's a really good point, and I'm curious on this. So that one of the last episodes of Tim Ferriss is with Morgan Housel. I don't know if you've read his book, but Morgan is an investor, and he talks about that same principle. But then he says, I talked to a 19-year-old who just got drafted and has this amazing contract. And I bring the topic up to him, and he says, look, most people think we go broke because we're just spending the shit out of our money. That's really not it. It's because I come from the inner city, and I have to buy a house
for everybody
to my 5th cousin.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They're like, they feel obligated to support so many people.
The social debt is too high, right? Like if someone from that background makes it, then it comes with a debt. Like I have all these people that I just can't say no. Like I'm so far away from them. The flip side is he talks about there's this billionaire family that I know. They have $8 billion in net worth. They're doing fine. No one knows their name.
Yeah.
And by no one knowing their name, they have no social debt.
Yeah.
Like I can't ask you for anything if I don't know you're a billionaire, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
if you come
yeah.
to me in flip-flops and shorts and I'm like,
low key. Yeah.
what do you do? No, dude, it's just my family business, whatever. We do okay. And you're like, all right.
Yeah. This
And
guy.
Yeah, sports is awful because the contract is public.
Correct.
Everybody knows it. So if you make $2 million, it sounds like a lot. After taxes, it's 1. And then, you go to any bar. It's assumed you'll pay. And guess what? You only play for 4 years. It's not like you're playing for 45 years like everybody else their whole career.
Totally.
So
And
it's actually hard. Yeah,
that's why
it makes sense.
He's mentioned something. It's like, dude, the best status you can have is rich and unknown.
Yeah.
The worst is broke and famous. Like, bro, everybody's
Tough place
expecting
to
you to do stuff, and you're like,
Catch me outside.
I was like, oh, shit.
No, actually, I think she signed some big contract. But yeah.
Yes, I think she got paid.
Yeah, she did get paid. But yeah. No, that's true. That's good. That's a good point. Yeah,
Sorry.
you can get. It can. Yeah, if everybody around you thinks you have money, you can get in trouble. What about Jacob? Do you have a moment for you that
made it?
Yeah, I made it.
Dude, this year that's been another topic on my mind because I think this year played out in a way that I didn't think would happen for another 2 years. So I feel very like kind of
You're ahead of schedule.
yeah. and I don't really know what to do next. So that's like trying to start new things or trying to try new things, which is like this studio, like this itself, just trying to see if there's what does the next sort of iteration of stuff look like. I'm also hyper aware that like what we do is very fragile.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like we have this, you know, sustainable software business where it's like people are sort of, I don't know, like
It's not recurring.
locked in with what, yeah, it's not recurring. Like we start every month at 0 and then like the month happens. So I feel kind of hyper aware of that. But at the same time, it's just sort of like, why not take the plunge and trying to do more original stuff and see what happens?
Right.
But all of this is like trying to explore and try new things that hopefully could be more, I don't know, more sustainable, less fragile in a way. So it's a blessing, but it's also a curse in a way of like, dang, this could go like quick.
But are there things that you have like a professional, sort of like a target that you're looking at that you're like, I want to get?
Well, I know for sure I definitely would like to be doing more content that I'm a part of that actually is impactful in a way beyond just like meme types of things, which have kind of been like our bread and butter for a while.
Yeah, you post a lot of with the company that hires disabled people.
3-2-1.
Yeah, 3-2-1.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff we do on the agency side feels really good because the people we're working with are great companies, and that stuff's super fun. But I mean, really, the media side of our company is what keeps the company alive and able to scale, and that's where things feel really finicky. Because in today's world, it's all like, you know, if you sort of live and die by the success of content, you sort of live and die by the policies and the rules and regulations of the game you play, which is on the backbone of social networks, which I think everyone listening to this would know that those are kind of changing and flowing every month, if not every week and every day. So that's probably what keeps me up at night, knowing that like we need to try to do stuff that's more that creates a more loyal fan base, because the other stuff is so fleeting. You know, it's kind of like it's working. Oh, it's not working. It's not. Oh, it's working. It's not working. It's not working. And you sort of ride this roller coaster ride, and that is like, I mean, that's stressful.
Oh, I can't imagine.
That's so stressful. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's your whole business.
Yeah. Now playing devil's advocate on myself, I can look back over the last 16 months and been like, oh, it's worked.
Yeah.
But
you didn't know it at the time.
I didn't know it at the time. And just because it's worked for 16 months doesn't mean it's going to work in the 17th month. So it's like,
yeah, there's this
different, dude.
I feel like there's this unfortunate thing where, you know, they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. Yeah. It kind of sucks where it's like, if you do the same thing over and over again and it doesn't work, it won't work. But if you do the same thing over and over again and it does work, it still might not work. Like, it doesn't guarantee you'll keep working, but you'll guarantee you won't keep working.
Yeah.
Like, like, because the thing that works changes.
Yeah. And I feel like sometimes, and I speak from like our experiences, you need it to compound. So doing the same thing over and over again is what's required. Like, you just got to do it long enough for it to pan out.
And how many actors didn't pop off until they were like 50 or like 60, and then they had a whole new career, and they like punched that bag.
Dumbledore.
Yeah, they punched the bag for 30
now he's
years.
dead, by the way.
Yeah. And all their everyone around them was probably like, "What are you doing?
Yeah,
like, you're kind of crazy."
You're
like
crazy.
you need to,
I mean, Breaking Bad. Have you ever seen the main guy in Breaking Bad? Anything else? I mean, he was 45 when he made it. Yeah.
I was talking to a friend about this and I was like, dude, what an interesting thing. So, painters. If you're a painter,
okay.
You're like, one of my co-founders, his cousin works at one of the big auction houses in New York, one of the famous ones.
Sotheby's, yeah.
Or in Christie's.
Christie's.
She's in she's in Christie's. And she said, you know, because we were like making fun of like, what's valuable art?
Yeah.
Is this prettier than that? Like, I don't fucking know. Like, I have no idea. And then he says, well, one of the things my cousin looks at is basically how long were you a struggling artist as part of the value. the intrinsic value
Yeah.
of the piece. And I'm like, so that's the definition of a guy or a girl or whatever that was doing the same thing over and over for 20 years.
Yep.
That all their friends told him, like, you are crazy as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lost all your friends.
Making these pictures.
And then now you are arbitrarily given value by an auction house because you did that.
Wow.
And I was like,
Yeah, that world is.
you should go to jail.
You make or break. Yeah. You make or break people off of that.
Yeah, literally. It's crazy.
Dude, I mean that plays into the whole like NFT wave of how everyone was trying to act like this artistic value was coming in from homeboy who just like created something off of an algorithm on on his computer.
Crazy. Yeah, that's a world I feel like I haven't been close enough to the blockchain community.
I'll tell you.
lately.
I'll tell you.
But
It's not over. It's not over.
I mean, I'm not geek enough to explain it, but I mean, being explained the technology since day one was like, this makes sense. This makes a lot of sense.
Well, you were pitching. I'm still so frustrated. I mean, Gabe was here pitching me Ethereum at like $50, Bitcoin at like 1,000.
I remember.
And I'm like,
$70.
it's up 100%. This is way overvalued. Now, you know,
Bro, I tell
Bitcoin's
this
at
story
40,000.
when me and you were at the Forbes conference,
Right.
and we walked by the classroom
that's even earlier.
in where were we at?
We were at MIT.
MIT.
Yeah.
And you're like, they're talking about Bitcoin. I'm like,
Bro.
what are you talking? I'm like, bro, get out of here. Like, I don't even.
No, you know what was worse? When we went to TechCrunch Disrupt,
I don't know this. What?
Jacob and I walked by a booth. There's this Chinese guy talking about an exchange that he has and gives us some stickers. And you could pay with Bitcoin outside. I was like, bro. And I was like, at that point is when I really started like learning about this because of that. Dude, that was the CEO of Binance.
No way, CZ?
Yes.
Oh my god! Well, these days he's paying billions of fines.
I know.
That's crazy. Though. That's crazy.
He quit. He actually quit today. Like,
oh, really? Today,
yeah, he quit today. I was like, holy shit! We should have asked him for something. Like, this is a multi-billionaire. Like,
Yeah, well, the
are you
people in
kidding
the
me?
actual industry who are not just on the finance side, but are actually on like the creation side, like because my wife Jackie works in crypto, like it's a very it's a small group.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of people who do on the investment side and try to get rich. The people who are actually like coding and stuff, like it's a pretty small group. And it's,
Well, you see a lot. I don't know. I mean, yeah. What are the applications or whatever?
Do you know what I remember about TechCrunch Disrupt? That's totally different from what you.
You should switch it up. we stayed at this fancy hotel, by the way.
is worth it.
That's where the lady was getting choked when we got off the.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
And the guy was demanding his crack pipe back. Yeah, that was crazy.
At MIT?
Our
No.
neighbor, like
Yeah,
literally like window to window.
Bro, we get off of the subway or the bus.
Oh yeah.
We get off. We
off-
walk up
like
and
right
there's
after the plane.
Literally a guy with a girl like in his hands, and he's like,
God.
"Give me my pipe back," and she's like, "I don't have it," like yelling at it. And I was like, "Oh, welcome to San Fran. This is great." What I remember about TechCrunch Disrupt, well, I remember a couple things, but I remember all of the sex toys that were connected to apps. Do you remember that?
Oh my god!
And they were trying to get us to like download the apps on our phone and then buy the toys or something. There must have been, dude. There must have been
There were a
5
lot.
booths, and the guy would like
It's popular.
Yeah. I was like, why is this? This is what they're displaying at TechCrunch Disrupt. This is the tech that's defining the year here.
Then we figured out that you paid to be one of the
Yeah, that was before we.
people.
It's just a marketing. Yeah,
you
they're all
know,
there.
doing stuff.
Yeah, they're all there marketing.
It's like, oh shit, like that's what I should do. We should put up together a conference where people pay for booths and then I don't do anything. That sounds
Hang
great.
out, couple keynotes, you're good to
Couple
go.
keynotes.
Yeah, easy breezy.
That was, yeah, we did play a lot of VR. We stay at a hostel, bro, that the university paid for. Because they didn't.
Big ballers.
Yeah, big ballers. Literally,
A hostel?
our
That's
window
wild, a
was
hostel.
next to a hostel in San Francisco. Like we would walk out and like all the needles on the floor.
Oh my
And I was
gosh!
like, well, all right, like we missed the party, and dude, a hostel, like one shower, like at the end of the hallway or whatever. And then our window was next to a window of a different building where one night there was just people yelling at each other, just like throwing stuff. And it was like, oh my God, we're going to get murdered.
That's interesting. So
I'm like, I'm pretty brave, where I come from, like blah, blah, blah. And there's like, Jacob, we're down.
Oh, you mess with me.
Yeah. And it was like, no, yeah, we fucked up. We shouldn't have come here.
I'm curious though, because both you guys have, companies, and, you're in Raleigh and then Miami, which is on the up and up, but it's still not considered the mecca of like innovation.
Totally.
So have you guys thought about the San Francisco, New York, or is there a reason why you've stayed in the places you've stayed?
Ooh, man. Actually, for me, primarily, it's just because of like here is where I have the best network of people.
Yeah.
And definitely what I do has benefited from that local network. But in terms of what has been the most, significant for the business is from the West Coast.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, for sure.
There's just a lot of investment, like just a lot of money.
No,
I guess.
just the organizations that we work with out there, like they've been the most significant for driving the business
in LA,
growth.
maybe.
Yeah. So, but it doesn't. But our business doesn't really matter where you are geographically for a lot of what we do.
Yeah.
So it's kind of been beneficial to be here in a standpoint of just having the local network that we know, and then knowing that we can do work wherever we want to, as long as we can find the opportunity, if that makes sense. I don't know.
I think, yeah, no, I hear you. I mean,
it's not like we need to be near like a cultural hub for something.
Yeah, for us, it's completely different.
Yeah.
Completely different. San Francisco would not qualify for us for my current type of business, given that San Francisco doesn't build culture. When they build technology and movements, but they're not specifically for Casalú right now, it's not relevant. When we started Casalú, the realization was pretty clear for us, right? Like, okay, our culture today is where Black culture was 20 years ago. As we grew up with Jay-Z, Kanye, like all the things that were happening, the NBA, that was Allen Iverson, then LeBron, and globally that factor, MTV, I remember back in Venezuela. Now kids are growing up with Lionel Messi at the MLS and Bad Bunny. Like, the kids don't know the lyrics, and they are singing to Spanish songs they don't understand. And 1 out of 4 Gen Zs are Latino. And
oh, wow.
That's huge. That's 25% of the population of the new generation. And on top of that, they end up becoming not only the biggest minority in the country, but they have a leading presence in culture. It is exactly what African American culture lived 20, 25 years ago when they became mainstream. So that's what we're living, right? So when we start Casalú, we say, okay, the next Red Bull is going to be Latino. Can we be that? And that's why the company really starts. So when we take that leap, part of the analysis was like, it all came down to, do we launch in Miami or do we launch in New York? We didn't consider LA because we didn't have a network in LA. So we were there, we would really be at zero. Even though if you're launching a consumer business, LA and New York have always been the equivalent to launching tech in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And the reason is that's where culture is built. So if you're trendy here in Raleigh, what you're wearing, let's say, that was probably in New York 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're coming behind the curve. And we need that innovation. We need that leadership in terms of culture. So for us, it was like, okay, where is the biggest Latino population? Definitely New York, LA, Chicago. Miami was by density. And we ended up deciding between those two. And it was really a flip of a coin, mostly because in Miami, everybody's advertising to the Latino. So we said, okay, if we can cut through the clutter, then we can win everywhere else. Mm-hmm. Like, if we win it the hardest place, then we can win
the most competition else. Is there.
Right. Like in New York, for Casalú, dude, it's a hit. It doesn't matter what we do. Like, people just go crazy.
Because they don't have any other alternatives.
There's no alternative. Like, there's nothing like it. It's just freaking, it's just a good fit, which makes us one. And then there was a liquor part of it where distribution was just much easier in Florida than in New York. In New York, every liquor store, every bar has only one license. What that means is you need to knock on every door. Like, physically.
Oh, so you can't do a contract with like 10 at the same time?
No, it doesn't exist. So that was the ultimate reason we chose Florida, in this case, Miami. Time will prove whether it was a good or bad decision. But New York I would move to New York in a heartbeat. Like, if we get the things how they're happening right now aligned, then I would expect myself to be living in New York within the next 6 months.
Let's go.
I honestly, thinking about it more, it's like it probably came down to me more selfishly of just like where
You want it to be.
Where do I want to be? Or like where can I actually afford to be and like feel like I can save and do those things, and like North Carolina just seemed to be very natural for that. Because like Raleigh and Durham, like this, it's a good place to be. I mean,
yeah, it is.
Consistently, I feel like people are moving here and want to be here. In a way, we're almost like a boom town in our own right. Not that I don't like other places. It's just like, oh, I enjoy the lifestyle here in a way.
Dude, I love North Carolina. Like being in Raleigh or Durham, I think it's amazing. I think the value we get for what's out there it's like unfair. Like the places you get. I mean, when I'm here, I'm like, I travel the whole United States, and it's rare for me to get good enough coffee compared to me just going to Black and White down the street.
Yeah.
So it's like, I have to pay like fucking $20 for a drip coffee to get anything close to this in New York. Like,
that's for sure. Yeah. Culture shock, New York. There's this place called Kaz, like good sandwiches. You may have heard of it. It's quite famous.
Cat's Deli.
Yeah, Cat's Deli.
And then it has all the photos on the walls.
Yeah. Really famous. I hear about it. I'm excited to go. The sandwich is $25.
Yeah.
That was the first meal I had in New York. And I'm just sitting there, I'm just like, how is that a real price? I mean, New York.
You're paying for the photos on the wall. Though,
It sucks though, because like whenever I have I have friends who come in sometimes like internationally, and they like can't they don't want to do anything because it's just so expensive.
Yeah.
I'll go walk.
Walking
sounds nice today.
I mean, you touch the ground and it's $50. You know,
you gotta earn enough to be comfortable.
But and most people
I don't know. I don't even know how people can afford even living in places that seem more affordable. I mean, how expensive food is these days.
Yeah,
you just go to get groceries. It's like I thought this was going to be a casual trip to the grocery store. It's like $150. You're like, wait, what's in the cart right now? Like, it seems like everything's expensive.
Yeah, I mean, inflation.
Well,
I don't know. I think
that's your pitch for Bitcoin right there.
Right, inflation resistant
stays the same value all the time.
It is a matter of
kind of.
Whether you're producing enough compared to the cost of living, right? Like, are you generating? Are you in the right industry? Are you generating enough for what's being paid for? It's also moving very fast, so it's hard to adapt even if you're making more.
Well, that's what I kind of like. I mean, you said transaction. I mean, it's more stressful, but it keeps you on your game, right?
Yeah.
If you have a recurring business, it might work for 5 years, but then in the 6th, when it stops working, maybe you're not on top of it anymore and you can't keep going. Whereas now,
start chilling.
If you're changing every few weeks,
Yeah.
You're always on whatever is best. Like you're constantly improving your game and you know.
I don't know, man. I have investors. Those motherfuckers have planes and shit. Like, I want that.
Yeah, well, hey,
man,
the second half, not the first half of their life.
I need to raise money. They're like, sure.
I guarantee you, in the first half of their life, though, they were hustling like crazy.
Yeah. But fuck that.
Go straight to the second half. Yeah.
Yeah. Skip that part. Don't Ray Dalio me with that bullshit.
Dude, have you guys been tuned into Sam Altman and OpenAI?
Yeah. Like, what's the deal? I mean, like, I guess it makes sense to me. I don't know if you guys have ever had the billboards, but I've had the billboards. And
well, that's why I wanted to ask you, because I was like, I wonder what the reason for the breakdown was.
So they claimed that he wasn't necessarily being truthful. Is what came out.
Yeah. But did you read into that at all? Of like, if there's a core reason behind, like, that could be a front for a.
Yeah. No, there has to be a reason why the board wasn't liking what he was doing.
Yeah.
That's just very tough to figure out if you from the outside.
Because
I think it becomes very not personal, but the first question is, are incentives aligned?
Mm-hmm.
When you have an investor, your incentives are not aligned, right? Your investor wants certain multiple as fast as you can get it.
Yeah.
Does your IRR, right? And out.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I can liquidate this or cash it out. So there will be expectations on how much can this be worth. The second the CEO starts taking edgy decisions or decisions that might risk that perception of how much can he or she make as a investor and board member if they have a vote, then that's when they start getting uncomfortable. And if not everybody's rowing on the same direction or in the same direction, then that's where real conflict can happen. So what I would imagine from the outside happened is some kind of discrepancy between where Sam saw the business going and then this guy saying, they took investment from Microsoft, right? So they had to be tied, at least mentally, to an exit to Microsoft. And I don't know if they challenged whether that was going to happen soon enough or later. And Sam wasn't then necessarily in any rush to get that deal done. So, which would make a lot of sense. And that's what I would imagine happened. So he was thinking in a different direction than
when Microsoft brought him back, 3 days?
Yeah.
After that was like, okay, something seems really kind of funky here.
Right.
Because if they liked him that much, to want him to be
right.
Yeah, there could be some jealousy because OpenAI. It was just him. Name somebody else. If one person gets all the attention for everything, maybe I don't know. It could be a little bit of jealousy, especially if other people were doing just as much work.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody and they brought Emmett Shear. Like I don't know how he has.
Is that the Google guy?
No, he was what's the gaming Twitch? He was a Twitch founder.
Twitch. Oh, nice.
Emmett. What the fuck? It's so random.
Bring in the text.
And another YT guy, dude, what? So just stab me in the back and like that, and now they're reshuffling the board, and he's coming back.
Yeah.
You don't buy any of the conspiracy theories about their internal achievement of
drop it. What internal?
That they've officially reached. Artificial general intelligence internally, and that the board's freaking out about.
No, yeah, I think I will say with other stuff. With crypto and stuff, other companies have seemed interested, but with AI, it's sort of like we kind of have to do this, or we might get left behind.
Yeah,
it kind of seems inevitable.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
It's made everything so easy for people. It's like when I compare the even NFTs and like the crypto wave that was so big, I think it was hard for the sort of common person to be able to interact and understand it. But with AI right now, you can literally just get on a little chat bot and start asking questions with a free account and be like, oh, this is actually kind of crazy.
Yeah,
what I'm able to do here. I can actually get this question answered, or I could have this report written, or I could do this research in way faster than I could before. And whenever something makes something so much faster or easier, I feel like it's so hard to, it's like our cell phones made stuff so much faster and easier. It's like you weren't going to slow that down. It was inevitable.
I call it the black magic. So it's to me, the tipping point for something that's going to be worth a lot was this black magic, like black magic.
Oh yeah.
So that's how I feel like the iPhone was.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
It was wait a second. What the fuck did this guy just pull out? And it's an iPod and a phone and oh my God, like, are we
People were
safe
freaking
here?
out
Like,
about it, yeah.
everybody just freaking out.
Oh yeah.
I think there's a lot of that. I think Uber was that.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, I'm gonna get this car and it's just gonna show up and it's gonna tell me
Yeah.
where it's
On
coming.
my phone. I don't have to call.
I was like, oh wow,
Yeah.
this just got so much better.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I would put this, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Like, AI and machine
No, that's
learning have always
interesting.
been there. So it's to me, it's always been this past the black magic test.
I mean, even just my first time actually like experimenting with it, I was like, no way.
Dude, I
Like,
had
this
it
really
write,
just happened. Like,
I had to write a PR release for me today, and I was like,
Yeah.
I don't have time for this.
a couple little checks in it. It's like good
Yeah.
to go. It's
Yeah.
like,
It's like, what information do I need to give you to write me a PR? And it's like, okay, here's the list. Okay, so I got it.
I'll do that. Here you go.
Give you that, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
this is pretty good.
We're just becoming manipulators of artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I mean, they're enabling us, right? So it's one of those things where I mean, I love it. And there's like Hoppy Copy for newsletters.
Oh yeah.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
I think with imagery, I think you were talking about
That's where
earlier
it's
before
getting
we started
crazy.
recording
Yeah, I know.
with Adobe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, great. So, I mean, if you can record a podcast on Autopod pretty quickly and then add the thumbnail
Yeah.
and everything,
It's just
and
done
just
for
do it
you.
much faster. Like, you were paying someone $1,000
Yeah.
to do that, and now you don't.
No, the efficiency is insane. Are you generally optimistic or negative?
I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
I think everything that's been said about AI right now was said about computers
Yeah.
50, 60 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see it any different. I think there's always going to be the question of how fast can humans catch up
Yeah.
to it. But it is not in our best interest to get extinct.
Getting extinct is not ideal.
Yet, at least yet. So I actually think we're gonna at the very least live a really solid next 50 years of very productive
Yeah.
era,
It'd be good.
and I think it would be very good.
Yeah.
I think it would
I think
be
it's bad.
very good for everybody.
You feel optimistic or
I mean, I'm a little bit worried. I mean, I think.
What's a reason to be worried? What are you seeing?
I mean, what we were talking about. I mean, it definitely comes across that a lot of the AI can do a better job than people. And I feel like really smart people like Elon Musk have said stuff like, "We already have passed. It's too late. We've passed the point of no return." So I guess, yeah, I'm worried that we'll have a couple smart people like Sam Altman who control everything, and everybody else.
Well, the script was flipped for me because I feel like if you had asked me even just 2 or 3 years ago, I would have been like, yeah, it'll be like a robot. And now it's like a thing you talk to.
It's creative. That's the scary part.
Yeah, it's creative.
I use it to make my words sound better. Not to sound more professional, but to sound more interesting.
Totally.
Like rephrase. It's amazing.
I will be like, hey, I want to sound like Ernest Hemingway today. Literally. These are prompts.
Shakespeare me now.
These are prompts that I use. And then here's what I feed you. And then you give it back to me. But I think use it under that structure. It's a very positive thing.
I think it's positive for smart people.
Yeah.
Or hardworking people.
The question is, when does it break? Like, when is there a tipping point of like, this is too much? Like, what can that
But
be?
I mean, how are we going to stop? I just feel like once we hit that point, we're not going to stop.
We're headed-
No, because it might be like, no, I'm replacing you.
Yeah.
Human.
Yeah,
Like
but
what is that? Like,
You are the problem, human.
Yeah.
and then I think there's this.
That's pretty far down the road, but yeah.
I don't know if it's like Homo sapiens or in Sapiens or in Homo Deus by Yuval Harari, where he talks about evolution. So it's like, oh no, well, my claim is that humans and AI are going to get combined, and there's going to be like this new, you had Homo sapiens, now you're going to have Homo Deus. Deus is God, right? So you're just simply operating at a like next level. So it's like a new way. Like
Yeah.
it's a new human. Like you're basically a cyborg.
I mean, that's
But
inevitable.
not the physical side, but it's just like a combined side. Sounds great to me. The problem
Sounds
is,
great to you.
Of course.
Okay.
The problem is, do you get replaced? That's when it gets interesting. I think that's when it gets fascinating, which is like, okay, is this natural selection? Like, is this the next
level of Darwinism.
Exactly. It's like, oh no, you're not getting replaced by the next human like everybody else before us was. You're being replaced by an algorithm.
I mean, that sounds awful.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to be there for that. Might have to let that one ride.
That's why I said that's where the problem comes.
Yeah.
And be like, oh yeah, you guys do you. I'm about to go here, roll on and die.
That being said,
A happy thought.
I don't think we can really control it. So I think you kind of have to embrace it. You have to use it. You really don't want to be the person who's blockbuster, right?
I don't think you can. I haven't seen anything that's like wildly crazy. I think the Boston robotics people were always the ones that get me like a little spooked with the robots.
Dude, when you see robots doing backflips and then you've watched like a couple Black Mirror episodes.
Well, and then
just like,
I mean
think we're there.
drones, right? Without people, it gets you start having wars where nobody's actually fighting. It's kind of
But I do feel like in everything that's happened in history, there's always offense and defense. And I've never seen just like a pure offense economy or even like infrastructure. There's always, if you can build something for a negative, someone figures out a way to build it for a positive to defend people, right? It's like, oh, the Germans just created this encryption device, and then it's like, well, the guys at Bletchley were like trying to break the code, right? Like there's always these sort of constant back and forth of good and evil, basically.
Oh yeah, the yin and yang of it all.
Yeah. And I think that's just very natural. So whenever it's slipping into negative, someone seems to be able to figure out a positive to balance it out.
Hope you're right.
If Sam's our evil and Elon's our savior.
Right.
Who knows?
Right.
Yeah, I don't even know if Sam's the evil or the good one.
He could be the good one. Yeah.
I mean, Chat GPT is pretty sweet, but
It is.
It is pretty sweet. I don't know. Ask Bill Gates.
Well, boys, should we wrap it up?
yeah.
Hell yeah. I'm glad you guys were here.
Yes.
We'll do it again.
Yes.
Salud.
Good seeing you guys.
All right.